Well, hi everybody. It's Anne. It's 7 o'clock Central Standard Time, so I am ready to rock and roll and take you on a little walk through our new Stampin' Up! 2020-21 catalog. You know, I've had a lot of customers reach out to me that have gotten their books, and honestly, they're a little overwhelmed about where do I start, especially if they're new stampers. So I just wanted to take a little bit of time tonight to point out some of the features in the book. And if for some reason you don't have a catalog yet and you don't already have a demonstrator, and you would like a catalog, just stick that in the comments, and later on I will contact you and we'll talk about how to get one into your hands. All right, let's get started. I would recommend that you begin on page 1. On page 1, we have our table of contents, and what's really cool is all of the sections, starting with our all occasion stamps. You'll notice that each section is color coordinated. So for instance, if we were to go to page 10 here of the all occasion section, you would notice right up here in the corner, you can see this color that coordinates with our table of contents. And this, if your eye is very astute, you will notice that that is our new bumblebee color. Now, as we move along here, we'll go to page 2 and 3. Right here on page 2, we have some photos of the Gardner family, who, of course, Shelley started Stampin' Up! With her sister, Vanna, and her daughter, Sarah, is now our CEO. One thing I love that's right up front and center is our statement of the heart. And if you're not familiar with Stampin' Up!, I want to just quickly read it to you. It says, "To love what we do and share what we love as we help others enjoy creativity and worthwhile accomplishments. In this, we make a difference." And that's one reason that I joined Stampin' Up! 18 years ago. It's not just a stamp, ink, paper company. They do so many wonderful things for organizations around the world, and I'm just so proud to be associated with them. All right, moving on to page 3. We have 2 main types of stamps. We have our red rubber, which is now our cling. These have a special cling coating on them that allow them to stick to the blocks much better. I don't know if you remember before, the regular clear mount ones, sometimes they would fall off when you stamped and you had to put adhesive or something on them. Well, that is not the case anymore. And we also have our photopolymer stamps. These are transparent. These are ideal so you can get perfect alignment to help with techniques like two-step stamping, which, as a matter of fact, on page 3, you'll notice here where it says Stamp It Up, it gives you some techniques. We've got two-step stamping, markering, stamping off, pattern building, masking, and heat embossing. So, for instance, if you turned here to page 27 for two-step stamping, and you don't know what that is, or maybe you've forgotten, when you go here to this page, right down here, it tells you what two-step stamping is, and it shows you how to do it. Now, if you go to page 78, which was mentioned again, you will see how to stamp off. And it really gives you some neat techniques, and especially it shows you stamp sets that these techniques work so well with. Alrighty, and you know, while I'm talking here, I'm trying not to take up too much of your time. If you do have questions, please feel free to put them in the comments, and I will look through and get back to you with those. All right, here on page 4 and on page 5, these pages highlight how our stamps coordinate, or not our stamps, our colors coordinate. So we have in our cardstock, in our markers, in our blends, in our inks, everything goes together. And I don't know about you, but have you ever walked into like one of the big box stores and you just need a red? You ran out of something and you need some ribbon to match a piece of paper you have, and you're looking through those and nothing seems to work. Well, that is one of the best features of Stampin' Up! Is our color coordination. So when you're getting, like this color right here is mint macaron, no matter if you're getting the cardstock, the ink, the embellishments, the ribbon, everything is going to coordinate. And you'll notice that here in this particular sample, you'll see the cardstock and the designer series paper, and the ink here coordinates. All righty, now moving right along, in this section right here, right in the front, you see our kits. You know, I've been stamping a long time and I still love our kits. Our paper pumpkin kit is a monthly kit. It comes in a box and it's got everything you need to make whatever the cards or the home decor or maybe it's a calendar. It all comes in that one box with everything you need. The only thing that's not in there is a pair of scissors, and if you like to use roller adhesive, but there's glue dots and all those other things. Now you'll notice as you're stepping through these kits, there are some that just have the paper and some of the embellishments. Then there's other ones like this boho indigo kit that has a stamp set, it has dies, it has ribbon, it has embellishments. So no matter if you're sort of a novice or casual crafter, or if, hey, you're an avid crafter and you want it all, the kits really will help you as you're stamping projects. Now we get into more of the stamp sets and items. This is our Flowers for Every Season suite. And excuse me, like I had showed you earlier in the table of contents, let me go back here for just a second. Our all occasion stamps are in this section, and what you'll notice, and it's the same thing for all of these sections, and I'll show you a couple more, is the very first thing that you come to is the suite that is available here. Now, the suites are great for a couple of reasons. One is, let's say you are just a flower fanatic. You turn to this page and you think, oh my goodness, I've got to have this all. I love these colors, the stamp, the dies. But you're thinking, oh my goodness, it's going to take me too long to either list these all out for Anne or to put them on the online store. Guess what? There's just one number here that you need, and you'll get everything that you see here. So that is a great feature. Now, something else you might not have noticed if you've been looking through the catalog, right here, kind of tucked in, this shows you all of the colors that coordinate with this suite. So you'll see here that it's Magenta Madness, Cinnamon Cider, Bumblebee, Just Jade, and Misty Moonlight. Well, those just happen to be our new in colors. But you might have missed that if you didn't look really closely. Let me show you one other little suite here that is just awesome. Let's go here to page 64 into our support section. Okay, so here is another one of the suites, the Ornate Garden, and that actually was one that came out before the catalog, and you were able to just sort of buy these things in advance. So see here again are the colors that are in the suite. There's the one number that you would need, so it makes it just easy peasy. Okay, here's something else that I want to point out to you. We call it Shop the Project. Now, here's this wonderful sunflower bundle, and you'll notice as you're looking at the samples here, you might think, oh my goodness, what did they use to get this texture and these patterns on these cards? Well, right here, it tells you Shop the Project. It shows you the embossing folders that were used to make these cards. Now, the other thing I forgot to point out to you on this suite page, all of our suite pages have extra samples to show you the versatility here. So, you know, this one suite, you can make all of these different kind of projects, and I think that's pretty neat. Okay, now let's say you have been stamping for a while, like I have, and you like to add a little more pizzazz, oomph, and depth to your projects. Well, look right here. See this where it says Step It Up? So, if you are just beginning into the Stampin' Vortex, as I call it, you might just consider yourself a more casual crafter. You don't have a lot of things, you maybe don't have a lot of money to spend, but you still want to create pretty things. Okay, well, you can stamp this project right here with this stamp set, just some markers or blends and some cardstock. But if you look over to this one, we've added some designer series paper back here, and we've added more words, a couple more flowers. Then over here, we've added some twine, we've added some more color back here. So really look for these Step It Up sections in the catalog, and you'll get some more ideas. Alrighty, let's whip back here. I hope I'm not going too quickly for you, but again, I don't want to take up too much of your time, but I want you to be able to see everything that is in here that will be of benefit to you. And remember, if you have to cut out in the middle, I will post the recording of this so you won't miss anything. All right, on page 42, right here in this section, it says, you might also like. So we all love pets, right? So you see here the stamp set with our lovely little furry friends, and it shows a bundle. But look right here, it also shows the cat punch, the dog builder punch, and the way to goat stamp set that actually would coordinate with this. So keep your eye out for you might also like in the catalog. All right, now I want to show you, I think this is my favorite stamp set and bundle and suite in this catalog. I had my eye on it during the pre-order, which demonstrators get to do, and I have made so many cards. It is called Forever Greenery. Look at this. I think it's magnificent. One of the reasons I really like it, I think, is it features this pretty peacock ink, which just is wonderful. And it's got embossing folders, designer series paper, this really neat Forever Fern stamp set. And I wanted to point out this little marking right here. It says distinctive. You might not know what that means. What it is any stamp set that has this distinctive mark means it was created from a photograph. And when you stamp it, let me show you on a couple of my samples here. This one and this one. Notice how there is really texture in these leaves, and this really looks more like a real leaf. Well, that's because the concept artist took that photograph of a real leaf and turned it into a stamp. Now, like I mentioned earlier, one of the best things about Stampin' Up, I think, is our color coordination and our collections. On pages 142 and 143, you will see all of our collections, our colors, but guess what? You see the actual color here. You don't just see a number. And I think this is so critical because it helps you not to order the wrong thing. If you're going along and looking at just numbers, well, you don't really know, am I ordering a flirty flamingo or am I ordering pumpkin pie? But if you can see the color here, then you can quickly and easily see what you are ordering. Continuing along here in our little walkthrough, I think this section is something that will really help you. On page 168, that starts a listing and a showcase of our punch bundles. Now, back here is where you see the star of the show, all of our stamp sets, and it will tell you here if it's a bundle. But back here, you can actually see a bigger photograph of the punches that go with the stamp sets. You can see more samples. And I recommend, if you are new to paper crafting, these punch bundles really are great because a punch is very easy to use. Here's what they look like, a bigger picture. They have a locking mechanism here that's very easy to open. I like to punch with it turned over so I can see exactly what I'm punching. And the best thing about our bundles, both our punch bundles and our die bundles, is if you buy the bundle and you see this great little purple scallop with a 10% in the middle of it, that means you are going to save 10% off the amount that you would be spending if you bought them individually. So, hey, discounts are great, right? Now, as I mentioned, we also have a section where you can see our die bundles. Now, if you haven't heard, we are going to have a new die cut machine. We're going to have the regular size one and a mini. Unfortunately, you can't purchase this yet. You'll be able to really soon. But I did want to point out, no matter what die machine you're using now, chances are ours will work with that, especially if you own a Big Shot. Now, this little circle right here that says mini, when you see that little symbol, I'm going to just point it out on some of these subsequent pages. What this means is these will fit in either the regular size machine or the mini one. If it is a die that does not have that mini, it will fit in our full size machine, but it won't fit in the small one. So that's something you want to keep in mind when you're looking at that as well. See more of these samples. I want to just flip through some of these pages because honestly, for me, when you see the samples, I mean, you can see how easy it is to put some of these things together. And let's say you're looking at this sample and you're a purple fiend like I am, and you look at this and think, oh, I love this, but I don't have this stamp set. Well, maybe you have another flower stamp set that will work. Or like here, they've used two different colors, but use this same stamp, which again is a distinctive stamp. See all the detail on that? All right, just a couple more things to point out to you here. You may not know that when you host a party, whether that's an in-person party and you're all wearing masks, whether you do it online, or whether you just have your own party with everything that you want, you earn host rewards. And as a part of that, we have stamp sets. One of them is right here called Summer Days, and one of them is Touched My Heart. You can only get that as a host. So that means if your party sales or if your own purchases are $150, you're going to get 10% of that back in shopping dollars. So that would be $15. So either of these stamp sets, the Summer Days is $13 and the Touched My Heart is $12. That is the value that it would cost you to get that free. Now, this month, if you spend or you host a party that's $250 or more, you get 25 extra shopping dollars, which I placed an order today for the new in colors, which we weren't able to get on our pre-order. So I earned some free rewards too. All right, last little thing, right here on page 188, it tells you about joining Stampin' Up. Now, any of you who know me know that I am not a hard salesperson. I'm not an in-your-face kind of person, but I wanted to point out one thing. Right now, in addition to the what I'll call the normal great price for the starter kit, it's $99 and you get to choose $125 worth of products. You get all your business supplies and you get free shipping. During the month of June, you also get to pick a bundle for free. So that means, let's whip on back here to where the punches were. Let's say you love tulips. You could get this timeless tulip bundle that includes the stamp set and the punch for free. You could get one of The die bundles. Maybe you like this wreath, arrange a wreath bundle. Now, you're not able to get a suite for free, but getting a free bundle is pretty darn awesome. And where else could you start a business for $99? Now, I do have some of my customers that join just to get their discount and to get the extra freebies, which honestly is why I joined 18 years ago. But over the years, I've earned trips for my husband and me to go to places like Fiji on cruises. Now, right now with COVID, the trip we had earned for this year is postponed until next year. But even without the trips, I've met so many wonderful friends. We have Zoom meetings with my team, and it's just, especially during this time, you can get together with your friends on Zoom and you can craft. I've done that where we all get out our stuff and then we just spend a day crafting. So I hope that I have answered some of your questions and shown you some of the neat features and benefits of this catalog. As I mentioned earlier, if you don't have a catalog and don't have a demonstrator, please do reach out to me at ann@stampmaven.com, or you can also send me a text here at my phone number. If you do see things in the catalog that you just gotta have right now, feel free to go to annbrown.stampinup.net. And if you do have any questions on anything about the catalog or anything else that I didn't cover, please do leave me a comment and I promise I'll get back to you. Have a good night. See you next time.